got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your head. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on, hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. My camera's not behaving correctly here, probably because the TV's in the background. Whatever. Or my eyesight is just totally fucked up. It's so blurry that I think no, there we go. Yeah, it's not my eyes. There we go. Am I having another stroke? I have no idea. Maybe. Forced some plays yesterday. That did not go well. I don't think I forced them. I don't know. Tampa would have been a winner if you played them in the first 5, and they're winning the game 2-0 in the fucking 8th inning. So I guess we can't rely on their fucking bullpen because they blew that game and lost it, even though they had the lead the entire game. So probably should have been a win. It would have been if I limited it to first 5. Pisses me off. Yeah, kind of a bullshit loser on that one. The other games, not so much. I don't know what to say about Pittsburgh Dodgers. Scooble had a bad inning early in the game. It was 3-0 Pittsburgh. And I'm like, yeah, all right. We're not going to get this one. But then it was still 3-0 in the bottom, into the 4th, into the top of the 4th. No, into the bottom of the 4th. I'm like, okay, yeah, we have 3 more half innings to go. Get this done, man. Just don't allow another run. One more run would have been a push, which I guess I would have accepted. But, there's a chance it's still going to win. And then, no, Jared Jones loses it. And he gives up 2 runs in each the 4th and the 5th innings. And we lose that one big time. Then the WNBA game, I don't know what to say about that. Phoenix had a huge deficit, and they overcame it. And they got to within the spread to start the 4th quarter. They had a huge 3rd quarter. So I think they were down 15 at the half. They cut it to 5, I think, at the beginning of the 4th quarter, and it looked like everything was kind of trending in the right direction. They did have a huge free throw disparity in the game, and that's not a good sign when you have a huge free throw disparity and you still lose the game. That means you're doing other things poorly, which in this case they shot really poorly, but they also had fewer field goal attempts in the game, which I consider to not be a good sign. They actually won the rebound battle, though, so it wasn't all necessarily as bad as it looked on the scoreboard for Phoenix. Still, I think it was probably the wrong call, though, and they wound up not covering, obviously. I can't get anything right in the WNBA. Do not listen to me. We're not going to have a winning season in the WNBA at this point. I'm 2 games below 500, I'm pretty sure now, and a lot of those losses are bullshit. I think it's just too much to overcome at this point. There's only a month left in the season. I'm going to give out a play today, and you know it's going to lose, so don't listen to me. Do not listen to anything that I have to say here. Baseball, first game up. Oh, yeah, how about a play in baseball? I'm sure this one will win. Yeah. No. Don't listen to me, man. We're going to take St. Louis, Philadelphia under the 8. Yeah, we're going full game on this, even though I don't really love these bullpens. The bullpens are at least rested. St. Louis only used 1 guy out of their bullpen yesterday, so they have their choice of relievers basically today. Philadelphia, kind of the same deal for them. Like, their better relievers are available today. So I think we can go full game on this. Philadelphia the game was a blowout yesterday, so that's why you had just relievers that are not high leverage getting into the game yesterday. So sometimes that will give you a setup where if not a lot of relief arms came into the game, it'll be a setup where the high leverage arms will all be available. That's what we have here. Philadelphia's hot right now. They've won 8 games in a row, on the verge of sweeping this series. And of course, when I talk about that, I do say that a lot of times you want to look towards the other team, look towards the team trying to avoid the sweep. Philadelphia, one of the questions would be, do they have a look ahead here? I don't know, maybe. I mean, they have a road trip starting tomorrow where they have to go to Seattle. Seems like, or that's at least Tuesday. Maybe they might have the day off tomorrow, actually. They're playing Seattle next, though. And having to travel out to the Pacific Coast, maybe not great for them there. So, yeah, I mean, you could make the argument that maybe you could look towards St. Louis here, but you have to fade a really good pitcher on the side of Philadelphia here, so I don't really want to do that. But I am going to look at the under in this game instead. The bullpens, I mean, I think they're at least in a manageable situation here. Philadelphia is 18th. St. Louis is 21st. They're not like the absolute worst bullpens, so I'll leave them in. Hopefully they don't blow it, but of course I'm also going to hope that the starters, especially Phillies, can kind of get us a bit deeper into this game as well. So we'll extend the game here. And sometimes when you shorten the game, like the room for error becomes less, you know what I mean? But if you wanted to take a first 5 on this, you could probably find a 4 out there at a pretty good price. So I wouldn't disagree with that if you went first 5 under here. Hitting-wise, these teams are not excellent, although Philly's been good recently, and they are better at home. They're up to 15th. St. Louis is 24th, tied with the Mets and the Reds. So I think, and Philly's tied with Arizona. I think that you could potentially fade these offenses here, but I'm looking at the starting pitching. Kyle Leahy, I mean, this guy is actually in pretty good form right now, believe it or not, after he looked really bad at the beginning of the season. 3.24 ERA is good, although his 1.31 whip is not really that good. He is a little bit worse on the road, 3.61 road ERA, but it's not something that's necessarily that bad. His splits are not really that significant. St. Louis has won his last 3 starts, and he's been good over those starts. This month, he has a really crazy 20-0 strikeout walk ratio this month, so his command is definitely on point here in the 3 starts this month. He is only going exactly 5 innings in these starts, but I think it's more kind of about the pitch count. So again, yeah, if you wanted to go first 5 on this, I'm not going to really disagree with that either. But yeah, he was good in all those starts. The bullpen didn't really hurt him either behind him. They won all 3 of those games. Like I said, he got a win in all 3. And he has only allowed 3 runs across those 15 innings this month. And in fact, he has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in a start going all the way back into mid-June. So he's been really good for a while now. His hit rate is still too high, though. He's still a bit too hittable. He doesn't really walk that many guys. His strikeout rate is okay. But I think this is good enough to get us a decent amount of the way here towards this under. His overall numbers, his strikeout walk ratio is actually pretty decent because he doesn't walk too many guys. His strikeout per 9 is all right. Against Philly, he does do okay in 34 at-bats. 265 average allowed, but a pretty low 618 OPS, 9 strikeouts, no walks. So he's had good command when he's pitched against Philly, and they have not done a ton of extra base damage against him. So I like that. And of course, I am also backing Cristopher Sanchez on the other side here, who I think is going to do more of the heavy lifting as far as this under is concerned. 2.51 ERA, 1.22 whip for him. Really good at home, 1.42 home ERA. His splits are definitely more significant. He is definitely better at home. So we're going to back him there here. He's pitching well recently as well. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start, going all the way back to that one bad start that he had right before the All-Star break. He's been good since then for the most part. His walk rate has gone up a little bit recently. He's been more hittable than he usually is this year. I think he's changed something because he used to have walk issues. This year, his walk number is actually quite low, and his strikeout rate is really high, so it seems like he's changed some things. He's pitching maybe a little bit more to contact, potentially. Whatever he's doing, though, it is working. He's facing a weak St. Louis lineup here, and they do not do well against him. In 39 at-bats, 179 average, 495 OPS, 16-3 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't think that Sanchez should do poorly here. We'll take the under here in this one. Money seems like it agrees with it. 67% of tickets on the over, 55% of the cash on the over. So it does look like the money is somewhat indicating against what seems to be a little bit of a public over here. Money also indicating against Philly. 91% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them at about minus 210 or so. There are probably arguments for it. I mean, I could see an argument for taking St. Louis plus like the half run or something in the first 5. If you think Leahy can kind of battle against Sanchez here, maybe he can, although he's not the better pitcher, obviously. But if you think St. Louis might be able to hang around, it's going to be a lower scoring game. A St. Louis like run line play is like not totally out of the question, you know. And they're guaranteed to bat in all 9 innings. So there you go, because they're the road team. I think that's pretty much all I got on that one. But also, St. Louis, again, possibly extra motivated to try to avoid the sweep there. Although Philly, they're within 3 games of Atlanta now in their division. So Philly could actually still overtake Atlanta in their division, which is an insane thought. And I still think Philly's overrated. But they do have 3 really good starting pitchers, and Sanchez is one of them. All right, Tampa Bay, Baltimore. This is another series where there's a team trying to avoid a sweep, and it is Tampa Bay. They should have won for us yesterday, man. 2-0 in the 8th inning, and they blow the fucking game. Not happy about that at all, as far as trying to get shit right on the show here. Yeah. But Tampa Bay might be a little bit extra motivated here to try to avoid the sweep. Baltimore's not really going to overlook them, though, I wouldn't imagine, because this is a big divisional series. Baltimore only plays St. Louis next, so I think Baltimore will have more focus on this game still. At the very least, they get a chance to spoil some of the party for a divisional foe. Tampa Bay used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Baltimore used 4 as well. Although, of course, as a Red Sox fan, the Red Sox pulled that game out of their ass yesterday while the Yankees and Rays both lost yesterday. So the Red Sox did gain a game on both of them yesterday, but whatever. Bullpen-wise, these bullpens are closely matched, I think. Tampa Bay ranks out higher. They're number 4. Baltimore is, this is based on whip. Baltimore is, where are they? Somewhere in the middle, I think. Why don't I see them? Where the hell is Baltimore? What? Oh, they're 10th. There they are. Yeah, but Baltimore's ERA is a little bit better. I don't know. I think the bullpens are closely matched, kind of close usage there. Tampa Bay is 6th offensively. They're not as good on the road, though, Tampa Bay in general. Baltimore 18th offensively, but Tampa does appear to have the edge there as well. Nick Martinez is pitching for Tampa Bay. He's got the better numbers this year, although the advanced analytics guys, as I keep saying, really don't like him because he doesn't strike guys out. But he's been a pretty effective pitcher this year, and his entire career hasn't been that bad. So I don't think he's as bad as the advanced analytics guys make him seem, although they will say he's not as good as his numbers make him look. That's probably true, but good season for him. 3.05 ERA, 1.14 whip. He's been really good on the road, 2.14 road ERA. So he is a guy you could back on the road. Wasn't good in his last outing, though, at home against Toronto. So his current form maybe a little bit in question here. That was not a good start against a very weak Toronto offense. I don't know what went wrong in that game, but he's pitching well command-wise here. He's not really walking anybody. He's a little bit too hittable, though. He does pitch to contact because he's not a strikeout guy. His hit rate is average, I would say, this year, but he doesn't really walk anybody. His strikeout rate is low, but his walk rate is so low that his strikeout walk ratio is still pretty good. His strikeout per 9 is definitely low, though. One of the lowest that he's posted in his career, actually. Still having an effective season anyway, though. And he's been good on the road, and he's good against Baltimore, but in a small sample, 13 at-bats, 5 hitters to face him, only 1 extra base hit, Pete Alonso home run, and in fact, Alonso has both hits that Baltimore has against Martinez. By the way, I forgot to mention, there was that really bad call the other day in that Baltimore Yankee game where Pete Alonso clearly hit a home run and it went over the foul pole. But if you look at all the diagrams and stuff and you slow it down and you look at the right angles, it was clearly a fair ball. It should have been a solo home run. And the Yankees won that game by 2, so I don't know if it really mattered, but they called it foul, even I think upon review. That was a terrible call, but whatever. Anyway, Martinez overall does do well against Baltimore. 154 average allowed, 651 OPS, 4-2 strikeout walk ratio. Shane Baz is pitching for Baltimore. He's been okay for the most part. 4.02 ERA, 1.35 WHIP isn't really that good. Better ERA at home, 3.74, but his opponent batting average is a lot worse at home, believe it or not. So he's getting out of some jams, it looks like, at home. 280 opponent batting average at home. That isn't great. He's coming off a pretty good start against the Yankees where he had a ton of strikeouts, although wound up losing the game and got no run support, but it was a good start for him against the Yankees. He's got a pretty strong 25-5 strikeout walk ratio this month, so he's striking guys out right now, not really walking a lot of guys. 3 out of the 4 of his starts this month have been good. He's been more good than bad over the past couple months. His hit rate is still too high on the season. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is okay. So a lot of mediocrity here. Again, a mediocre strikeout walk ratio as well, and strikeout per 9. His strikeout per 9 actually lower than it has been mostly throughout his career. So his strikeout rate's a little bit lower this year for whatever reason. Against the Rays, he's been pretty good. In 46 at-bats, 196 average allowed, 571 OPS, 15-6 strikeout walk ratio. Not the greatest ratio, but I think this game is an under, man. That's the way I would play it. This almost made the cut for me. I'm going to talk about, I think I have 2 games that just missed the cut for me. This is one of them, and I started this out. I'm like, what am I going to say under in every game today? The total's high in this one, though. It's at 9. Which the odds makers are kind of indicating to you that they think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I don't know about that. And if you wanted to limit this to first 5, if you don't trust the bullpens enough, that might be an okay way of doing that too. Although I think the bullpens are okay, and the starters might be able to get you a decent amount of the way there. First 5 under makes some sense as well, though. And you'll probably get a 4.5 on that. But yeah, the high total worries me a little bit about the under because the odds makers seem to think it might be a bit of a higher scoring game. Money is backing the under, it looks like, though. 79% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the under. That is how I'd play it. I'd go under either full game or first 5. I was thinking full game because you get that, you're on that key number of 9. So getting under that, it's not really a number that I typically play an under with, but you get on that key number 9 at the very least. Money also indicating on Baltimore. 70% of tickets on Tampa, 69% of the cash on Baltimore. I don't think I agree with that, even though Tampa's not that good on the road. I think Tampa, trying to avoid the sweep, maybe a little extra motivated. Martinez is better on the road than Boz is at home. I think I'd slightly lean Tampa, but I think the under is the better way to look in that game. Toronto and the Yankees. It could be an under here, man. I mean, this has been a pretty low-scoring series. And the last time these teams played not long ago, every game, I think, in that series went under. They're playing a lot of low-scoring games here. These are offenses that are not doing well right now. This is a split series as Dylan Cease. This game yesterday was way more lopsided towards the Blue Jays than it looked. Dylan Cease had a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and then the bullpen almost blew it for him. And if you look at the hits, Toronto's offense should have put up more runs here. They out-hit the Yankees yesterday 15-4, and they only won the game 4-3. That is ridiculous. Toronto was stranding base runners all over the place in the game. Kind of like the Red Sox, I think 2 days ago, the Red Sox were just awful with stranding base runners. I think it was 2 days. Was it yesterday? No, it was 2 days ago, I'm pretty sure. The Red Sox had a game where I think they stranded 10 base runners or something and had they were like 1 for their first 13 with runners in scoring position or something like that. Whatever. Anyway. This game could be another under here, Toronto and the Yankees here. That would be the way I'd be leaning here in this one. Although Toronto put up more offense than it looked like yesterday. That team, their offense just can't put up runs generally, though. Yankees used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Toronto used 3 as well. Yankees do have the higher-ranked bullpen. They're number 3. They're number 2 in ERA. Toronto's not too bad at 16, and they do have a good closer who did get them the save yesterday, Varland, but I believe he'll be unavailable today because of that, probably. Maybe not. You never know. Yankees offense struggling, man. They're 19th in offense right now, and Toronto is – that's over the course of the season, and Toronto's 27th. Yeah, we're looking at some offenses that haven't been doing well. The pitching in this game looks decent to me. Jose Soriano is pitching for Toronto. pretty good season for him. 3.23 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, and what we know about him, he's usually good on the road. 2.96 road ERA this year. That's pretty good. He's been good with Toronto. He's made 3 starts with them so far. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of them. His walk rate hasn't really been that good. His strikeout rate has been down a bit in those starts, but he's been somewhat effective, and Toronto has won all 3 of those games, even though they're not a team that can hit. So, although they have backed him with some runs in those games, though. So he's getting run support, but overall, low hit rate, decent strikeout rate, although that's gone down recently, though. Walk rate is too high, so Soriano kind of struggling with the walks. That is usually his main issue, is the walks. His strikeout walk ratio is actually kind of bad because of that. His walk rate is definitely too high. His strikeout per 9 is pretty good this year as well, although it's gone down with Toronto for whatever reason, but it's a small sample size. Soriano has been decent against the Yankees in 30 at-bats, a lot of strikeouts, 11, 3 walks, 267 average, 733 OPS. So I think Soriano matches up okay here. Carlos Rodon is pitching for the Yankees. He's making his second start since coming back from injury. He's been decent over the course of the season, a short season for him, though. 3.22 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. He's been pretty good at home, 2.81 ERA at home. His one start when he came back from injury, we got a win with that on the show with the Yankees against Baltimore. Yankees bullpen came in and did a lot of work behind Rodon because he was limited. They limited his pitch count. He went 4 innings. He did okay. Nothing spectacular, but a decent way to get back into the swing of things. Now that he's on schedule again, I think he might pitch well here. He gets a pretty easy matchup against Toronto. As far as Rodon, he's not allowing many hits at all. He is walking too many guys, though, and his strikeout rate is pretty good. So his issue is also the walks. His strikeout walk ratio isn't really that good because the walks are too many. Strikeout per 9 is pretty good. Numbers against Toronto are not as good as you would think, though. 107 at-bats, 271 average, 833 OPS, 25-16 strikeout walk ratio. So he actually struggles against Toronto. And Vlad Guerrero just absolutely destroys him. Clement does pretty well as well, but it's really just those 2 guys. If you want a player prop, though, I'd recommend hits plus runs plus RBIs over. I know people love to go over because it's more fun, but I don't do props really, but I would find a situation like this where you have a guy that just absolutely wrecks a particular pitcher, and it's in a big sample. Guerrero is 12 for 19 off of Rodon with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 7 walks, and no strikeouts. That's unbelievable. But this Toronto lineup is still ass. Guerrero, by the way, I believe he has no home runs on the road this year, although I know they're at home here. But is that right? I think that might be right. Let me see. I'm looking at his splits right now. There was some really crazy stat that I saw. He just hasn't hit like any home runs this year. I want to see his splits. Yeah. I'm just interested. Let me see. Home. Yeah, 0 home runs at home this year. Absolutely insane. And they're at home here. So maybe you don't want to take him. Hits plus runs plus RBIs over. I don't know what's going on with him this year, man. But yeah, 0 home runs for him at home is unbelievable, pretty much. Not a good season for Toronto. But yeah, my instinct on this game was under, but the money is indicating on the over. 55% of tickets on the under, 61% of the cash on the over. Total's fairly low at 8, 7.5, somewhere between those 2 numbers. Money is indicating on Toronto, and I don't disagree with that. 68% of the tickets on the Yankees, 77% of the cash on Toronto. Yankees are in the minus 130 something range. Given that Soriano's generally good on the road and he has better matchup numbers than Rodon does, Toronto makes some sense. I would say in the first 5 again, which I said yesterday too, and that was correct. And Toronto's bullpen almost blew it. After I think they were up 3-0 or something at the end of 5, maybe 2-0. But yeah, Toronto first 5 is worth a look again in this one, I would say. Maybe that's better than the under, actually, given what the matchup numbers look like. So yeah, I lean under, but maybe Toronto first 5 is a better play in that game. I don't know. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, Washington, Miami. This game does not look like it has a particularly good pitching matchup here. Miami is on the verge of a sweep. Washington looking like they might finally be packing it in, man. This Washington offense kind of starting to struggle a bit here, even though they've been one of the top offenses this year. Is Miami going to overlook them, though? I'm not so sure, because Miami's trying to make the playoffs, so they kind of have to be motivated in all these games. So they might not overlook Washington as a divisional opponent. Miami does play Boston next. I don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not. I don't know if they're going to look ahead to that, really. Possibly. But Washington, they do fall into a spot where you might get an extra motivated team trying to avoid the sweep here. Washington's bullpen is definitely the inferior of the two, although they only used 2 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Miami used 4, but Miami is the better bullpen. They're ranked 6th, although I don't think they're that good. Washington is 25th, though. Washington, one of the worst bullpens. Miami is 9th offensively, tied with the White Sox. Washington is 3rd, although they've been a little bit worse recently, like I said, but still definitely a capable offense. And they might get something going in this game, because this pitching matchup, yeah, man, Jackson Kent is pitching for Washington. He's probably not as bad as these numbers look. 9.39 ERA, 2.48 whip. Obviously, that's really bad. And 12.27 road ERA is really bad. But he's only made 2 starts so far in his career. So I don't know what you can really gauge from this. It's a small sample, but I don't think he's trustworthy right now. I'll tell you that. He hasn't gone more than 4 innings in either start. Maybe you give him a pass for his first start because it was against the Cubs, and they're a hard-hitting team. He maybe was nervous. He walked way too many guys there. But going into Texas and facing a weak Texas lineup in a pitcher-friendly park and doing poorly again and having more walks in that one, or again, having a lot of walks, I should say, in that one, that doesn't make me want to trust this guy at all right now. Too many hits allowed, too many walks by far, more than 1 walk an inning. Strikeout rate is good, so he does have strikeout potential, and he gets a lot of ground balls, it looks like. I'm not so sure, but it looks like he does have the talent to fool major league hitters. It's just he's very wild, and he's also hittable so far at the same time. Miami, of course, won't have seen him before, so maybe he has an edge there with the unfamiliarity, but I don't think he's trustworthy right now. And I don't trust Jansen Junk on the other side either. I think Jackson Kent has a way higher ceiling here because you don't know what he's capable of. Junk, we've seen what he's capable of, and it's mediocrity. He's got a 4.37 ERA, 1.36 whip. Not great. He is better at home, though, 3.83 home ERA. He's been okay in his last 5 starts. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all of them, so that's not too bad. A couple of them are really short outings, though, and he's not striking anybody out right now, so that's not great. He's not really a strikeout pitcher. He's still too hittable on the season. His walk rate is fine. His strikeout rate is definitely low, though. Again, he doesn't really put a ton of guys on base, but he doesn't strike guys out either. Although his whip is pretty bad, so again, yeah, he is too hittable. But yeah, strikeout walk ratio, not great. Strikeout per 9, obviously not very good. Numbers against Washington, not good. 25 at bats. They have 7 guys who have faced him. 320 average, 906 OPS, 5-1 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't trust Junk in this game. I think an over might be the way to look at this. I mean, I don't think the pitching is anything that you can really trust here. I know I said over yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it did not happen, but the money looks like it is strongly agreeing with an over here. 52% of tickets on the under, 95% of the cash on the over. Total is pretty reasonable at 8.5. It is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, though, in Miami. But the pitching looks pretty ugly here, so I think over. And the money seems to be indicating towards Washington, and I don't disagree. 77% of tickets, 59% of the cash on Miami. They're at about minus 150 something here. I don't know if Junk should be that much of a favorite, really, against anybody, to be honest. And Kent, like I said, there's possibly some upside there. It's just such a small sample, you have no idea what you're going to get. So I think there's a lot of variance. So I think if you're going to play Washington, you should play it first 5 because their bullpen is bad. So Washington first 5, probably maybe even a run line situation, like plus the half run. Maybe Kent can outpitch Junk. It's definitely possible. Like, I think his ceiling is there for him to be able to do that, but he might also be atrocious. So I would prefer playing over in this game, but Washington would be a slight lean for me as well. Agreeing with the market read on that as well. A's in Houston. The A's, I believe, finally won a game yesterday somehow, 4-3. The A's had lost a bunch of games in a row, I'm pretty sure. Houston needs to keep winning, man, so I don't think they're going to overlook the A's, especially after losing yesterday. Houston trying to maintain their, I think they still have the lead in the AL West. I'm not even sure at this point. Houston fighting for the division, though, for sure, and or a wild card spot. Houston used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They obviously have the better bullpen here. The A's also used 3. The A's bullpen's very bad. They're 29th in WHIP, but actually they're tied in WHIP now with the Royals. A's are the worst bullpen, man. Their ERA is almost 6. I mean, come on. Horrible bullpen. Houston's bullpen is the better one. They're ranked 12th. Houston is also the better offense, number 11. The A's are 17. I think the A's have shut a couple of their hitters down as well. There's been some injuries and stuff going on there. And the A's look like they're going with a bullpen game here, too, which that's not going to be good either. It looks like they might not even have actually listed a starter here. Let me see. Where are the A's? No, they've listed it as Basso, but he's a relief pitcher. His ERA looks all right, but his WHIP isn't good. I don't think he's going to go deep into this game or anything. It looks like he generally goes 1 to 2 innings here. He'll probably be an opener and then give way to the horrible, horrible A's bullpen. Basso isn't even good against Houston, so yeah, I mean, I would not want to bank on the A's in this game whatsoever. The question is, do you want to really lay a price like this with Houston with Christian Javier on the mound? Probably not. I mean, this guy looks like he's not returning well from his injuries. 6.44 ERA, 1.68 WHIP, really bad. He's had some good seasons in his career, but this is not one of them. He's, I guess, a little bit better at home. 6.11 home ERA. Still not good at all. He's not going too deep into some of these starts here. He's still allowing too many runs. He's not really walking anybody recently, so at least there's that. Houston's been losing most of the games he goes out there, though. They've lost 6 of his last 7 starts or 7 appearances. His hit rate is too high. His walk rate's not very good. His strikeout rate is okay. Not a lot to like here. Low strikeout walk ratio because the walk rate's ridiculously high. Strikeout per 9 isn't really that good either. His numbers against the A's are generally good. 35 at bats, 229 average, 565 OPS, 7-4. Strikeout walk ratio is not great. I think Javier is definitely preferable to the whatever the A's are doing with their pitching here, but Houston's got 91% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them, and you got to lay minus 180 with them. I mean, I think Houston probably does win this game, but I really, really don't like that. Like, I don't like the price. The market read is indicating against Houston. I don't really see Javier being trustworthy here at all. So I think the better ways to look at this game are probably to look at totals. The over is getting a lot of money, 79% of tickets on the under, 68% of the cash on the over. I wouldn't disagree with the over. The total's at 9. I mean, it's kind of high for a reason. You can get it on that key number of 9. That, I think, would be a fine way to look at this game. But I think Houston team total over is probably the best approach because Javier does have good matchup numbers, so he might actually have a good start for once. I think what's guaranteed is that Houston should score runs against this mess of an A's pitching staff here. Like, it's a bullpen game from the worst bullpen in baseball. So Houston, if they don't score runs in this game, then that's not a good sign. You need them to score a lot, though. They're a heavy favorite with a total of 9, so you're going to need Houston to probably score. I would guess you need them to score at least 6 runs here, but they're definitely capable of that, and I think that's possibly the best way to play that game is Houston over their team total, even though it's going to be a high number. Detroit at Kansas City. I don't know where Zach is right now, but Kansas City they've won 7 games in a row. Detroit, I thought Kansas City was going to start losing it in this series because, like, they beat the Angels and the A's. Who gives a shit? But then Detroit coming in. Detroit's been good on the season, but I think Detroit might be done now, man. Now that Detroit has lost this series, like, what do they have left? Like, this could be a dream crusher type of scenario where I don't really pinpoint like an exact moment for a dream crusher in baseball because it's hard to say because, like, when a team gets mathematically eliminated, I guess maybe that would technically be the dream crusher. Detroit is not yet, but They're 6 games back in the division now. They're still in the wild card race, but losing 2 games in a row to Kansas City, it just can't happen, man. It can't happen. So maybe Detroit is going to be in a bad mental state here. However, Kansas City still sucks, and Detroit's the better team, and Detroit's trying to avoid a sweep here. So that has me hesitating to really want to say, well, Detroit's just going to come into this game mentally down. You know what I mean? Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be like, we got to avoid the sweep here, man. It'll be one of those typical better team trying to avoid the sweep scenarios. I don't know which one it's going to be, to be honest. And Detroit is not listed as starter here, which worries me because it means Detroit might not be taking the game seriously. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. Detroit used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. They're definitely the better bullpen. Kansas City also used 2, but Kansas City's bullpen, they're second last. They're the second worst bullpen behind the A's. Let's put it that way. And Detroit's bullpen is decent. They're 14th. Detroit's offense is also better. They're 13th. Kansas City 20th. The pitching, though, Detroit is not listed as starter in this game. Undecided. I don't really get why. Although, let me see. Have they listed a starter now? Because Framber Valdez, it would be his turn in the rotation. And he would be on normal rest. He pitched 6 days ago, so I don't see why it wouldn't be him. And he could be their savior because he does have good numbers against the Royals. So I don't know why it wouldn't be him here. Where are we looking here? It's not going to be him. It's going to be Wague's pack. That's not good, man. I think that's a bullpen game, I guess, for Detroit here. I don't know what they're doing. Like, are they pushing Valdez back a day? Like, what are we doing here? Detroit. Yeah, apparently they're pushing Valdez back to tomorrow against the Rays. I think that's a stupid move, dude. And the Royals, by the way, I don't think the Royals are going to look ahead. The Royals, I don't even know who they're playing next, but I looked earlier today. They're playing Toronto. Who cares? I think the Royals are still going to try to spoil the Royals to spoil. I think the Royals are going to try to spoil Detroit's season here, man. So I think the Royals will be motivated here. But Detroit looks like they're not taking this game seriously. Like, Valdez would not be on, 1 day short rest here. Like, he'd be on normal rest here. So I honestly have no idea why they're pushing him back, especially because they need to stop the bleeding here. They've lost 4 straight games. Valdez has good numbers against the Royals, so why would you push him back? I have no idea. But it's going to be a bullpen game for Detroit here. Yeah, that's probably not good. Again, I don't know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure this is a bullpen game. Yeah, Wague's back is listed as a relief pitcher here. He's had good numbers, but yeah, he's going to be an opener. He'll go 1 to 2 innings probably and then yield to the bullpen. And they're an okay bullpen, and I know Detroit, they're known for bullpen games, so maybe it won't work out that poorly. Maybe they'll still get the win here because Kansas City's also going with a bullpen game with Daniel Lynch the 4th listed as a starter. He did go 4 innings last time, so you never really know. Like, he might go deeper into this game. I'm kind of thinking he's probably going to go somewhere in the vicinity of 2 to 3 innings here. I don't know. And then you're going to get a lot of Kansas City's bullpen, I think, in this one, which is not good for Kansas City. I don't know what to do with this game, to be honest. The money's back in Kansas City. I'm not really sure I agree with that. I don't see a great reason to do that. 51% of tickets, 68% of the cash on Kansas City. It's basically a pick 'em price. It does look way too easy to take Detroit, but in a situation where it's like, Detroit's got to win this game. Like, the only reason that I can see to play Kansas City is if you think Detroit is just going to not show up anymore. But I'm not so sure that's true. They might still show up, try to win, try to avoid the sweep, be motivated here. I don't know, but going with the bullpen game worries me that maybe they're not taking the game that seriously. But because it is Detroit and they do the bullpen thing a lot, like, they're the team that's most known for doing that. Detroit and Tampa Bay basically are the teams that do that the most. Maybe it's an intentional thing. I don't know. But Kansas City also going with a bullpen game looks ugly. The money's playing the over 8.5, and I would probably agree with that. Because you know me, I hate bullpen games. So 78% of tickets on the under, 94% of the cash on the over. Over, I think, is worth consideration in this game. At least it may be the best way to play this game because bullpen games are just such a wild card. You just never know. But I think if one bullpen game is going to do better than the other, I would imagine it would be Detroit's, like, being more successful because they're known for doing it. You could maybe look at a Detroit team total over here. Like, just look for them to actually show up maybe for once, break out the bats against this bad Kansas City pitching setup here. You'll need them to probably score 5 in the game, which is not too bad. So maybe something like that might make sense. Mets and White Sox, I almost put this one on my card, but the money seems to completely disagree with me on this. I like the Mets in this one. I think they have a pretty big pitching edge here in this one, but I'm staying away from it. White Sox did lose ugly yesterday, 10-5, and the White Sox are still in the thick of a playoff race here, although they're atop the AL Central here by 3.5 games, so possible maybe they have their foot off the gas a little bit, but after losing 10-5 yesterday, maybe they bounce back with a better effort here. These teams have split the series so far. The Mets will have the better bullpen here, in my opinion, although they used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. But I don't think they really used their better relievers because it was kind of a lopsided win for them. White Sox used 3 relief pitchers. They didn't really use their best relievers either. Mets, I think, do have the bullpen edge. Like I said, they're ranked 7th. White Sox, not that much worse, though. They're 15th, but their ERA is not that much worse. So I think it is fairly close, but the White Sox are going with the bullpen game here. White Sox are definitely the better offense. They're 9th, tied with Miami. Mets are 24th. Mets have been better, at least recently. They're tied with the Reds and the Cardinals now. Isn't that great? Mets are going with Nolan McLean, so you know I do like that. He's legit, man. This has been a good season for him, his breakout season. The thing you got to worry about is he's young and he's thrown more innings than he has in the past. So he's getting close to that 150-inning threshold. It's arbitrary, but that's kind of the number that I use where I start to really get worried with a guy that hasn't thrown that many innings yet. He's in the 140s right now. 3.34 ERA, 1.16 whip. Good season from him. He's been really good on the road, 2.7 road ERA. And he's not really showing, well, I don't know, because his walk number's gotten worse. So maybe that is a bad sign, but he's not allowing that many runs still. He allowed 1 run each in his last 2 starts against Atlanta and San Diego. Although San Diego is hitting better recently. His issue, if he has one, is the walks, and that has been an issue recently, but he's very hard to hit. His walk rate's a little bit high. His strikeout rate is also high, though. Still, strikeout-walk ratio is good because he gets a lot of strikeouts. Strikeout per 9, definitely a good number there. White Sox basically haven't seen him. Only Jake Rogers, who had a walk-off home run the other day, and has been on 3 different teams in a span of like a week, it seems, on Detroit and then the Red Sox. And then the Red Sox had to let him go because the Red Sox are not going to keep 3 catchers, and he was just the throw-in in the Adley Rutschman deal. Rogers is 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout against Nolan McLean. But I think McLean sets up well here. He'll be unfamiliar to the White Sox. The only issue is he wearing down because he's thrown 141 innings or whatever. That's the only real question here with them. But he's got unfamiliarity here, and usually when a talented pitcher like that has that edge, or has that unfamiliarity, it is an edge for them. Chicago's going with Sean Newcomb. He'll be an opener here. He's been good, and they've actually had success in this role. Like, they've won 5 of the last 6 games he's appeared in. The White Sox have won all of those games. So I don't think I can completely write them off just because they're going with a bullpen game, but I would prefer McLean over a White Sox bullpen game, you know? I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, what does this bullpen game mean? Like, is Eric Fetty coming into the game? That wouldn't be good, I wouldn't think. So, I don't know. Even though Newcomb's got some good stats here, he's only going to be in the game briefly. And actually, the Mets have hit him well. So, Newcomb might give up something while he's in there, too. So, yeah, I would play the Mets if I was going to play this game. The money does not agree with me at all. 52% of tickets on the Mets. I don't think the public really would be siding with the Mets. I mean, it's not a heavy percentage or anything, but to me, you would think the public would just play the White Sox, right? Like, the public likes offenses. That's what you get with the White Sox. The White Sox have the better record. I don't see them playing the Mets at all, but we have 84% of the cash on the White Sox. It's basically a pick 'em price. But yeah, I mean, the way I see this game, yeah, it would be Mets for me, and that one almost made the cut for me. So those are my feelings on that game. So the 2 that I left off my card were the under in Tampa Bay and Baltimore. That one almost made it for me. And then the or maybe the first 5 under. I wasn't able to really decide on that, and I decided wrong yesterday. But then Mets, I would say full game in this one because the White Sox bullpen's coming into the game early, so comparing the bullpens, it's kind of useless in a setup like that. So I would say Mets full game in that one. But yeah, the money disagrees with me entirely, so whatever. Money slightly tilted towards the over in that game as well at 8 or 8.5. I don't have a thought about that, basically. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the game almost seems a little bit more underish to me, but I think that would be a little bit dangerous, though. Anaheim and Texas. This is a kind of a weird one. I mean, this has been a very low-scoring series, so we've had the unders have shown up in Texas again, and we got one right the other day with the under in the first game of this series. It was a 0-0 game at the end of 9, so yeah, that was one of the easiest unders you'll get, although it gets a little bit risky when you go into extra innings with a ghost. Not risky, but you can get a bad beat with these stupid fucking ghost runners in the extra innings, but that didn't happen in that one, obviously. Texas then lost yesterday 3-0, and I talk about teams usually are pretty motivated after they get shut out at home. Usually you want to look towards that team, and Texas is only 1 game back of Houston here. So Texas, this is a bad division, dude. Houston's atop the division with a 500 record. Yeah, that's great. Texas should be motivated here, man. Still fighting for it here. And Seattle's still not out of it either. But Anaheim is probably going to show up too. Anaheim, it's a divisional series for them. They probably want to spoil the party for Texas. So I think they'll be motivated as well. I don't like the Anaheim bullpen. They only used 2 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. We did use them in the under the other day. Texas, I don't really love their bullpen either this year. They used 3 guys out of theirs, but we did back the bullpens in the game the other day, and the bullpens have been fine in this series. Texas has been disappointing, though, on the season. As I always say, they're 19th with an ERA above 4, which isn't great. Anaheim's is actually a little bit lower, even though they're ranked 22nd. They're not the worst 2 bullpens in baseball. They're very mediocre / below average bullpens, though. But to counter that, you're looking at 2 bad offenses here, and that's been part of the equation in this series as far as why these games have been so low scoring. It's a pitcher-friendly park, but also these offenses are pretty bad. Texas 22nd, Anaheim 28th. Anaheim is going with Yusei Kikuchi here. I forgot about him. He's been injured for most of the season. He's coming back. Now, he's a veteran pitcher, and a lot of times when veterans come back, I like to back them because the team sometimes will rally around them and get excited and want to back that pitcher. You know what I mean? But Kikuchi, he's like an unbackable pitcher on the road, though. So even though there might be the excitement that he's coming back, he might be pumped to get back out there. Him pitching on the road is usually a no-go for me. His numbers on the season before he went down also were bad. 5.81 ERA, 1.58 whip. But it's the road stuff, man. He has extreme home road splits, and that's always been the case with him. No matter what team he's on, he always pitches better at home. I don't know why. 7.2 road ERA, horrible. So I don't think he's backable here, although he hasn't pitched since April. Anaheim, in fact, lost every game that he pitched in April. They only won 1 game behind him against Houston, and he wasn't even good in that start, really. His first start of the season, and then every other time he pitched, every game was a loss for Anaheim. Yeah, that's not a good sign. I don't think this guy's backable here. However, it is a pitcher-friendly park here, and his numbers against Texas are actually fine. They're actually good, pretty much, except for the walks. 79 at-bats, 203 average, 586 OPS, 16-12 strikeout walk ratio is really bad, though. But Texas has not been able to hit Kikuchi. So maybe, as far as road starts go, he's terrible on the road, but if he's going to not be terrible in a road start, it would be a game like this. You know what I mean? Where it's a pitcher-friendly park, a weak offense, and a game where his guys might rally around him. Cal Quantrill is pitching for Texas. I don't know how he's doing what he's doing. Quantrill is like a career spot starter and relief guy, and he's got good numbers this year. 3.13 ERA, 1.15 whip. Some of it pitching out of the bullpen, some of it starting. He's been good at home, 2.98 home ERA. He was really good in his last start. He shut Washington out for 7 innings and didn't walk anybody and had 5 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. Quantrill's in pretty good form right now. I still don't think he's actually good, though. But, his hit rate is pretty low, so you got to give him that. His walk rate's not too bad either. He doesn't strike anybody out, though, so the advanced analytics guys will not like that. His strikeout walk ratio is pretty low because of the lack of strikeouts. Strikeout per 9, also not a good number. So he's not a good strikeout pitcher, but he's not putting guys on base. So you got to give him credit for that. And Anaheim, they do not have a good offense. Their numbers against Quantrill are kind of mediocre. A 283 average is high. 688 OPS is not very high, though. So they don't hit him for power. In 60 at-bats, 10 strikeouts, 5 walks. That's not a good ratio either. What do we do with this one, man? Honestly, I don't know. The money's indicating on Texas somewhat. 82% of tickets, 89% of the cash on them. They're about minus 150 something here. They're a bit public. The public knows Texas needs to win this game to stay in the race. The odds makers know that as well, and they're going to juice the price a little bit on Texas for that reason. I think Quantrill, though, he obviously has the way better home road splits. He might not start, so you got to take that into account too. Texas might put an opener in front of him or do something weird like that. So you got to take that into account. I think if you're going to play this game, I would pick Kikuchi must start and not pick a starter for Texas, although I think it is probably about 80% that Quantrill is going to just start the game, though. But yeah, so I would slightly lean towards Texas as like a -1 run line, but I still think the over is worth considering here. 70% of tickets on the under, 56% of the cash on the under. So the money seems to be kind of indicating towards the over here. I don't really think the public is coming in and playing an under here, though. So it's hard to gauge with these percentages on a total like this because most of that money is probably professional money. But again, it's hard to gauge that when you see less of the cash than the ticket percentage on it because that still indicates that the bigger bets have been on the over more so than the under. So totals at 7.5 or 8 here. Possibly a better way to play this. You could go Texas team total over. You know what I mean? Quantrill, take that out of the equation. Take him out of the equation a little bit. Kikuchi, we pretty much know he's usually just a complete disaster on the road. So you could do that. But then again, Texas does well against them. You know what? This could be an under. Now, this game just has me all over the place. Like, looking at the starting pitching on the surface, like, my instinct was, yeah, this is terrible pitching. It should be an over. When you look at the matchup numbers, it actually makes it seem like more of an under. I don't know, man. This is a hard game to figure out for me. So, yeah, that game is nowhere close to being on my card. Let's put it that way. Do what you want with all the info, though. Cleveland and Colorado. Cleveland's on the verge of getting the sweep here. And Cleveland does need to keep winning because they're in the middle of the playoff race. However, maybe they do overlook Colorado here. Cleveland is playing Anaheim next, though, which is not really a big deal. But Colorado is going to be one of those home teams looking to avoid the sweep here. They don't have the pitching edge in this game. I mean, when does Colorado ever, really? So Cleveland might be able to get the sweep here. Cleveland, they might make the playoffs, man. Cleveland, they have one of the easiest schedules remaining. Cleveland, they're playing a lot of weak teams in the remaining for the rest of the season here. And obviously, Colorado's one of them. Cleveland used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They do have the better bullpen here. Colorado used 3 as well. So no crazy usage or anything. But Colorado's 27th. Cleveland is 17th. I think they're a little bit better than that, though, out of the bullpen. They're not good offensively. Cleveland is dead last in offense, 30th, but they put up at least some offense in this series because it's in Coors Field and it's against bad pitching. So at least Cleveland's been able to do something offensively in this series. Colorado is 5th offensively, so they are the better offense. But Cleveland is going with Foster Griffin. He's had a good season, 3.18 ERA, 1.11 whip, mostly with Washington. Cleveland picked him up at the trade deadline. One thing you got to worry about with him is his innings count. He's up to 144 in a third innings, and he's never done that before, so not even close. The most innings that he ever threw in a season before was 6 1/3. So that's how crazy the season has been for him. He's 31 years old, and he's never stuck in Major League Baseball. Hadn't pitched in Major League Baseball since 2022, and he's having this really good season from out of nowhere. It's crazy, but you do have to worry about him wearing down a little bit because it's more innings than he's ever thrown before. but he's pitching well right now. He's still in good form right now. After Cleveland picked him up, he had a bad start against the Mets, and it started looking like maybe he was wearing down, but he bounced back nicely, and he pitched well against Detroit and San Francisco after that, although San Francisco is not a good offense. But Griffin looks like he is back in form right now at the very least. He's got a pretty low hit rate here, low walk rate as well. Strikeout rate is okay. One thing you do have to be concerned with in Coors Field is fly ball rate and home run rate. His fly ball rate's not that bad, but he does allow a lot of home runs still, so that might be a little bit of a concern. Did he pitch in Coors Field at all this year, I guess, is another question. I don't think he did, like when he was with Washington. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did not. His numbers against Colorado, he obviously has not faced Colorado this year. They only have one guy who's faced him, Norby, who's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts against him. So Griffin has unfamiliarity against the Rockies. Maybe that's an extra edge for him, man, where Colorado will have to figure him out on the fly. Colorado's going with the guy that the advanced analytics guys hate the most, Tomoyuki Sugano, because this guy's expected ERA is like 7, but I don't really buy into that, man. His actual ERA is 4.7. I buy that his ERA maybe should be a little bit higher than that, but I don't buy that it should be as bad as 7. I think those advanced analytics kind of skew those numbers a bit too much. 1.26 whip is not good, but it's not really that bad. And for whatever reason, he's a little bit better at home in Coors Field. 4.5 ERA, even though Sugano is a fly ball pitcher. He's a heavier fly ball pitcher than Griffin, and he's allowed 26 home runs, so the home run rate's bad, but a lot of them have been solo shots. So maybe he's getting a little bit lucky with the timing on that, but he's not putting that many guys on base either, and that is part of it. That he puts few enough guys on base that there just happen to not be guys on base when the home runs happen for the most part. But yeah, he's definitely allowing too many home runs. It's been, I don't know, man. He's only allowed no home runs in a few starts this season, so that's not good, but he's allowing few runs, although his last start wasn't that good against the Dodgers, but they were a good offense. Some bad fielding kind of hurt his start as well. But besides that, he's been pretty good. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all the other starts in August and July. I think he was injured for a little while in there. He's got a high hit rate on the season, though, which is not good. Really doesn't walk anybody, though, so his command is decent, but he doesn't strike anybody out either, which is why the advanced analytics guys do not like him. But he walks very few people, so the base runners are somewhat limited for that reason. Strikeout-walk ratio is not great, but it's not horrible. Strikeout per 9 really isn't very good, so again, not a strikeout pitcher. Cleveland has not had good numbers against him in 35 at-bats, 229 average, 725 OPS. 5-4 strikeout walk ratio is not great, but I think this might be a first 5 under. Like, maybe that's my opinion here. I mean, it's always dangerous in Coors Field, but I think the pitching matchup might get you there with that one. The full game total is 11 or 11.5. I'd rather be, if you're going to play an over in the full game or whatever, which is where the money is headed, 76% of tickets on the under, 77% of the cash on the over. If you're going to play the over in the full game, you got to get on that 11 and not the 11.5. But I think maybe first 5 under. Sugano has been decent at home for whatever reason. Maybe it's mystifying, but it keeps happening. And Griffin's been pretty good. But there are definitely concerns. Like, Sugano's definitely not as good as his numbers might suggest. And Griffin, his innings pitch count is a little bit of a question as well at this point. So there are definitely question marks with it, but first 5 under, you'll probably get like a 6 on that. It seems like maybe it'll get there, but I don't know. I don't want to deal with it, though, obviously. San Francisco and Boston. The Red Sox are on the verge of a sweep. I don't know if they're going to look ahead to Miami or not, but the Red Sox pulled that win out of their ass yesterday. Wasn't a good game for them. Their offense was pathetic. I thought the offense would come out in that game yesterday on both sides. The pitchers were both better than I thought. Sandoval, I don't think Sandoval was as good as he looked in that game. Like, he got kind of lucky to allow the few runs that he did allow, the 2 runs. Tidwell, the Red Sox couldn't hit that guy at all. I don't know what the fuck. Then the Red Sox wound up scoring all 3 runs in the 9th inning. Although the Red Sox did have chances the Red Sox loaded the bases in the 8th inning, I'm pretty sure, and didn't score. But then the Giants did the same thing in the top of the 9th. I don't know. And then the Red Sox were able to score 3 runs in the 9th inning and walk off with the win. really crazy stuff. And Willie Abreu took his shirt off while he was still on the field after he scored the winning run. And I don't even think they'd replay reviewed it yet. And he already had his shirt off. He was safe. It was a crazy play. It was a Willie Abreu kind of hard hit in the infield. And somehow it was to the right side of the infield. Somehow Abreu was able to score from third base on that. And get in under before the tag. I have no idea. Anyway, crazy dramatic win for the Red Sox. They're the better team here, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. Red Sox have the better bullpen here. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but the Red Sox are kind of hurting in the bullpen right now because they're still without Whitlock and Slayton here, so that is not good. San Francisco's bullpen is not great. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Red Sox are still ranked number 1 in bullpen in both ERA and WHIP. San Francisco's 24th. They have not been great. They're not the worst, but they're not great at all. Red Sox are up to 8th offensively. They're better in that department than the Giants as well. The Giants are 21st. Red Sox, still not a good home team, although I think the Red Sox, for the first time all season, except for maybe at the very beginning of the season, the Red Sox have a winning record at home. Oh, my God. There you go. They've been better at home, at least since the All-Star break, though. Matt Wilkinson, the tugboat, is pitching for San Francisco here. I have no idea what you're going to get out of him. He's got a 0 ERA so far, 0.5 whip. Obviously, that's good, but he's only pitched 2 innings so far. He made a start against Cleveland, and they took him out pretty quickly in that game. He was good. He was efficient. He didn't allow any runs. He only allowed 1 hit, no walks. He didn't strike anybody out either. I think he's a little bit overhyped just because he is the tugboat, and he's a big dude, a big lefty, and he throws the invisible, if you don't remember, which has to do with his arm motion. He's able to hide his fastball really well, or disguise it really well. I don't know what the deal is. He doesn't throw that fast, though, even though he's a 250-pound dude. You'd think he would throw harder than he does. He throws kind of mid-90s, I think, but whatever, or low to mid-90s. But he does off-speed stuff. He fools hitters. Red Sox won't have seen him before, but I have no idea what you're going to get out of Wilkinson here. I don't know how long they're going to let him go in this game, so probably you're going to get a lot of San Francisco bullpen in this game still, but I honestly have no idea. And then the Red Sox are going with Jake Bennett. Bennett has not been as good recently, although he's had a decent season, but Bennett, he's not a strikeout pitcher. He's got a 3.46 ERA, 1.07 whip. That's pretty good for what I think is his rookie season. Yeah, so he's had a decent season for sure. He's been basically the same home and away. It doesn't really matter. He's struggled recently, though. His last 3 starts, not really as good, although 2 of them were road starts against the Dodgers and the Pirates. That's not easy, but he did struggle at home against the A's, too, which is maybe not a great sign. His hit rate is still pretty low on the season. Doesn't really walk anybody, so that's good, although his strikeout rate is also kind of low, so that's not good. But he hasn't put many guys on base, and his strikeout-walk ratio is still good because he doesn't walk anybody. Strikeout per 9 is low, though. So advanced analytics guys won't like him. Giants, kind of a weak offense, though, and they have not seen Bennett before, so we have a lot of unfamiliarity between these 2 starting pitchers here. What does that mean for this game? Maybe an under, maybe a first 5 under, because you don't really know how long these guys are going to go in this game. I don't know how much I trust either bullpen really right now, to be honest, although maybe the bullpens are trustworthy enough. The full game's 8.5. The money is backing the under. 66% of the cash on the, or 66% of tickets on the over, 54% of the cash on the under. Money seems, money seems to be on the under. I think maybe a first 5 under does make some sense. You'll probably be able to find a 4.5 on that. That might be the better way to approach this, is first 5 under. I guess I probably still wouldn't disagree going full game on it. Maybe the bullpens are good enough to hold there, but the bullpen might do extra work behind Wilkinson, because you don't know how much San Francisco is going to use him. They limited him in his first start, and they don't want to overwork these guys, so they might be building him up, and maybe you see him go about 4 innings this time. I don't know how much the tugboat can pull in this game. I don't know, but yeah, first 5 under seems to maybe make the most sense. All right. I'll be right back, and then the next game is another play for me. BC, what's up, man? Yes, thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Yes, guten Tag, yes. All right, I'll be right back. Yep, inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. Yeah, that's right. The next game is my other baseball play. We're going to take Cubs Mariners under 7.5 here. I like the under in this one. It's a pitcher-friendly park, so you see me playing a lot of unders in Seattle games, and there's a reason for it. Both games in the series have actually gone over, so I think maybe it is time for an under here. Seattle's on the verge of a sweep here. Seattle playing some motivated baseball here. Of course, we did take the loss in the first game because I thought it was a really bad spot for Seattle with the return home spot plus rest disadvantage. Cubs probably should have won that game, and they blew it. And they had a huge hit advantage in that game. Still lost. I'm pissed about it. Seattle won yesterday as well, and Cade Anderson wasn't great in the game yesterday. Seattle should have lost yesterday, too, and they overcame a deficit in that game. They were down 4-2, I think, in the 8th inning, and they pulled that game out of their ass as well. Kind of ridiculous. But they're playing motivated baseball late in games. The Cubs don't really need this as much as Seattle does. Seattle's in that heated race in the AL West. The Cubs are going to make the playoffs, like pretty much regardless of what happens here. The Cubs used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, but we're going to back their bullpen here. Their better arms are basically all available here for the most part, I think. So, actually, maybe that's not the case because they did blow the game yesterday, but I still think the Cubs pretty clean look to their bullpen here right now as far as the usage. Seattle did use 3 guys, but they didn't use any of their better relievers. They used their better relievers on Friday night, but not last night. So I think we're fine with backing both bullpens here. Cubs are 13th. They're not a bad bullpen. Seattle, 20th ranking would suggest, but they've been disappointing recently, but maybe their bullpen's coming around again here. They've been decent out of the bullpen in this series, at least. We also are looking at a Seattle offense that's been bad, even though they've put up some offense in this series. 29th offensively, they're still bad. The Cubs are good, though. They're number 2, but they might be stifled by the pitching in this one, man. I like the pitching matchup here, obviously. We get Shota Imanaga pitching for the Cubs. He's solid. He was struggling a little bit in the middle of the season, but he's turned it around. He looks good. I mean, he's been good since he's been in the majors. 3.77 ERA, 1.09 whip. He's a little bit better on the road, too. 3.62 road ERA, so his numbers are better on the road. Cubs have won 5 of his last 6 outings. They've won all 3 of his outings this month. He's pitched pretty well. He's had a 21-3 strikeout walk ratio this month, and he's not facing weak offenses here. Dodgers, Washington, White Sox. So that's a decent sign. He wasn't great in the Washington one, but still good command throughout these starts. He's in pretty good form right now. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate. Does allow too many home runs, but that might be lowered a little bit in this Seattle stadium, so this might be a good stadium for him to pitch in. I think a lot of that is the Wrigley, wind effect kind of fucking him over. Seattle should be a better environment for him as far as that's concerned. He is more of a fly ball pitcher, but that plays better in a big stadium like this. And Seattle hasn't really seen him that much. They have 4 guys who have faced him, and they haven't done well. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from Naylor. Naylor's the only guy in their lineup that has any hits off him. They're 2 for 18 off him, 111 average, 278 OPS, 4.0 strikeout walk ratio. So I think Imanaga sets up pretty well in this game. Pitcher-friendly park, unfamiliarity and good numbers against the guys that have faced him. And on the other side, I like Bryce Miller as well, pitching for Seattle. He's had a pretty good season. Those win-loss record sucks. That's not really his fault. It's because his team can't hit. 3.71 ERA, 1.04 WHIP. He's really good at home. 2.09 home ERA. So the home road splits both are in favor of these pitchers here, especially Miller. He's significantly better at home. 162 opponent batting average allowed at home as well. Miller, his team's losing all of his starts. There's no doubt about that, and he hasn't pitched well this month, but he faced the Yankees and Milwaukee in his last 2 starts. I mean, I know the Cubs are a good offense as well, but I think he's going to turn this around. His numbers weren't even that bad in the Yankees start, really. His command was still good. So I think he got a little bit unlucky to allow as many runs as he did. He definitely wasn't good in his last start. He was the one in that 22-0 game against Milwaukee. So I think he's going to be in a bounce back spot here, man. I mean, that was an ugly, ugly game all around. And you can't let that stand. You got to bounce back from that. I think he will. That was on the road. He's back at home here now. I know Seattle's lost his last 7 starts in a row, but we're not asking Seattle to win this game. We're asking the under to come through here. Miller's got pretty good numbers against the Cubs. They haven't really seen much of him. They have 6 guys who have faced him, 28 at-bats, 214 average, 674 OPS. The only problem is 1 strikeout and 6 walks is not good. But it looks like he kind of pitches around like Bregman and stuff like that. I'm not that concerned about it. I think this game pretty much has underwritten all over it to me. I like both starters. The money seems to be strongly indicating on the under. You can get the 7.5. It's like widely available here. You might have to pay a little bit for it, but you get under that key number, 7.5 with that hook there. So yeah, 61% of tickets on the over, 71% of the cash on the under. Money definitely backing the under here. That's what we're going to do. Money's also backing the Cubs, 73% of tickets, 84% of the cash on the Cubs. They're at like minus 112 or so here. I don't really disagree with the Cubs. I think Imanaga, I think he might be the better of the 2 starters, kind of. Maybe sets up a little bit better in this game. Better current form, at least, from Imanaga. So I wouldn't really disagree. And the Cubs are trying to avoid the sweep, so I wouldn't really disagree, but the Mariners are trying, man. They're trying to avoid the sweep here. They play Philadelphia next. I'm not sure they're going to look ahead to that or not. The Cubs are still a big National League opponent as well. So, but yeah, the under is what I'm focusing on there. That's the play. All right. Minnesota, San Diego. Minnesota is trying to avoid a sweep here. San Diego's playing with effort, man, because they're in the wild card race right now, trying to keep pace there with Arizona and whatever. I think I think San Diego is ahead of Arizona. Minnesota is still trying to make the playoffs too, though, man. They're in the AL wildcard race. They're in the race for their division as well. I didn't think Minnesota was going to be able to do it, though, and I still don't. Their bullpen is a big concern. They used only 3 guys yesterday, but their bullpen is way worse than San Diego's. San Diego used 4 guys, though, and they used Mason Miller in both games, so he's probably not available here. San Diego is still the better bullpen, though. They're ranked 8th. Minnesota is 28th, so I think San Diego still has a bullpen advantage here. Minnesota, 12th in offense. San Diego's been one of the better offenses since the All-Star break, although they're 23rd overall. But I think these offenses are kind of closely matched here. Bailey Ober getting the start from Minnesota. This does not look like a great pitching matchup in this one. Ober has been okay, 4.62 ERA, 1.25 WHIP is not too bad, but he's definitely not good on the road. 6.75 road ERA with a 309 opponent batting average. So he's way worse on the road than he is at home. However, this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark here. He's been decent-ish recently. He's been all right in his recent outings here. Over the course of the season, his hit rate is like right at 1 per inning, which is kind of mediocre. His walk rate's low, though. Strikeout rate is low as well, though. So he doesn't really strike anybody out, but he doesn't really walk anybody. So his strikeout walk ratio is kind of all right. His strikeout per 9 is a little bit low this year, though. But he's actually good against San Diego in 83 at bats, 17 strikeouts, no walk, 241 average, 663 OPS. So even though he stinks on the road, this might actually be a decent matchup for him here in decent location, pitching in a pitcher-friendly ballpark against an offense that he typically does all right against. By the way, I did forget to go over the overall stats for Imanaga and Miller there. Imanaga, yeah, like he's. Oh no, I think I did go over them, didn't I? I don't know. I'm all out of it, man. I usually am. Imanaga's got a good strikeout walk ratio though, and a pretty decent strikeout per 9, whatever. And Bryce Miller, really good strikeout walk ratio from Miller. He doesn't really walk anybody. His strikeout per 9 is also pretty solid. So there you go. But you could have probably figured that out anyway. Anyway, San Diego, back to them. Walker Buehler is pitching for San Diego. 4.79 ERA, 1.39 WHIP, not great, although he's been okay recently, and he's been better at home, 4.41 home ERA. So I think pitching in San Diego has helped him a little bit. Pitching in a pitcher-friendly ballpark, he's been generally pretty good for the last month plus here, allowing 3 or fewer runs in most of these outings, or in all of them, I should say, through late July. But he's not going deep into some of these outings. I don't know. I still don't really trust him. He's got a 13-7 strikeout walk ratio here. Strikeout walk ratio hasn't been good really at all throughout the season here. He's got an okay hit rate. His walk rate is kind of too high. Strikeout rate's not really that good. So the numbers don't look that good. Strikeout walk ratio is fairly bad at 2.1. Strikeout per 9 is actually decent. It's better than it has been in a while. So for him, at least, he's striking out more guys than he has been recently. Minnesota has 5 guys who have faced him, but they've done some damage against him. A 333, 750 OPS, 8-2 with strikeout walk ratio in those 27 at bats. I don't know what to do with this game, man. I mean, the pitching doesn't really look great overall here. The money is backing the over. 51% of tickets on the under, 58% of cash on the over. The total is pretty high for a San Diego home game. It's 8.5 or 9. If you're going to play the over, I probably do lean over, but I would say you want to find the 8.5 rather than the 9 to get below that key number there. Money's coming in at San Diego. I'm not so sure that I agree with that. 84% of tickets, 92% of the cash on San Diego. They're about minus 130 something here. I think I would lean Minnesota in the first 5 here. I don't like their bullpen, but Ober has the better matchup numbers. I don't know if I trust him because he's so bad on the road, but he's got better matchup numbers than Buehler does. Minnesota's trying to avoid the sweep. Minnesota first 5 makes some sense to me. And yeah, I would probably slightly lean over as well. All right, Pittsburgh and LA. Don't want to talk about the game yesterday, man. Of course, the full game wound up being a push on the 7. It just really pisses me off, man. All 7 runs came home in the first 5, and then the bullpens didn't allow anything. Just come on, man. Come on. I'm so fucking pissed. The Dodgers are on the verge of a sweep here. They've won 5 games in a row. Will they overlook Pittsburgh here? I don't know. Pittsburgh might be... they might be done for the season, man. You know what I mean? Skeens might be shut down. I don't know if we're going to see Skeens again. He might be shut down for the rest of the season because I think he has some injury or something. You don't want to hurt your guy, man, when you know you're not going to make the playoffs pretty much at this point. So Pittsburgh might shut him down, but they might still show up to try to win a game against LA. The problem is this looks like a huge pitching edge for the Dodgers here. However, you do have to pay a huge price for them here. Dodgers used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They are the better bullpen. Pirates used 4. Dodgers are an okay bullpen. They're ranked 11th here. Pirates are 23rd, although their ERA is really not that bad. So I think there's not that much of a gap between the two bullpens. Both offenses are good. Dodgers number 1, Pittsburgh number 4. But again, it looks like a big pitching mismatch in favor of the Dodgers here, although Pittsburgh might be looking to avoid the sweep. The Dodgers, who are they playing next? They're playing Atlanta next. That is a pretty big season. And look who's coming back tomorrow, by the way, Glasnow. So the Dodgers are doing this thing again where their best pitchers are basically just injured all season. The Dodgers still make the playoffs as one of the higher seeds. And then, oh yeah, by the way, Snell and Glasnow are back all of a sudden. And we have this like insurmountable starting pitching rotation. It's so insane, dude. Anyway, Pittsburgh is going with a bullpen game in this one. They're going with Lake Bashar, however you pronounce his name here. I don't know. He's got fine numbers on the season, but I don't know how good this really is. He's bad on the road. He's probably only going to he'll go somewhere between 1 and 3 innings here. If you want to play this game, you might just pick Snell must start for the Dodgers and don't pick a starter for Pittsburgh because they're going with some sort of bullpen game, although it probably will be Bashar opening, but I have no idea. He just pitched against the Dodgers on Friday. I think he came out of the bullpen on Friday. So that tells you he's not going to pitch that many innings here today. His numbers against the Dodgers are also pretty bad in a small sample size. So I don't see how you could trust Pittsburgh's pitching here. And Blake Snell was pitching for the Dodgers. Like I said, he's only made 3 starts on the season. He's got a 3.6 ERA, 1.13 whip, a 5 ERA at home, but I wouldn't really put much weight into that. He had 1 bad start at home at the it was in May, actually, against the Braves. That was the only start that he made, and then they shut him down again, shut it down. He's come back, and I think he's going to be in the rotation for the remainder of the season and postseason now. And he's been good since he's come back. He's got 12 innings, and he's only allowed 2 runs on 5 hits. Dodgers won both games against the Royals and the Rockies in Coors Field. Snell's doing Snell things here. High strikeout rate and kind of somewhat high walk rate. I mean, that's exactly how he pitches. Low hit rate, somewhat high walk rate, although that doesn't even look that bad this season so far. And strikeout rate high, that's usually what he does. So he looks like he's basically the Snell that we remember. His numbers against Pittsburgh are fine in 40 at-bats, 275 average, 681 OPS, 15-5 strikeout walk ratio. I mean, the Dodgers look like they should win this game, even though it's one of those situations where I don't love to play on a team that's going for the sweep, and you can't lay minus 280. You just can't do it. 92% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the Dodgers. They're extremely public. The money's coming in on the over pretty strongly. Total at 8.5. I don't know if I like that, though. I mean, you do get 2 kind of questionable bullpens. You get a bullpen game out of Pittsburgh here. You could play Dodgers over their team total, I guess, because pretty likely they're going to score runs against this Pittsburgh pitching setup. You need the Dodgers to probably score 6 runs, though, at least here, which is a lot, especially when they're potentially not batting in the 9th inning if they're already ahead. This is one game where I probably still wouldn't be opposed to laying the minus 1.5 run line, even though the Dodgers might not bat in the 9th inning. I mean, it's a huge mismatch, so maybe minus 1.5 runs, get the price down. It seems like a game where the Dodgers should still win this thing and probably do it by margin, but I don't know, man. And Pittsburgh could be in, potential dream crusher mode or whatever here. Who knows? Zach, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Yes, Royals have won like 7 games in a row, man. I already talked about that game. It looks like a real ugly pitching matchup in that game, I'll tell you that. Cincinnati and Arizona are on Peacock in the last of the afternoon games here. Arizona lost badly yesterday after they had a shutout win in the first game of the series. 11-5 loss yesterday against a Reds offense. And wasn't that Soraka on the mound for Arizona? Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened in that game. That's not good. Arizona, I think, should win here, though. Arizona's the team with the motivation here. They're coming off an ugly loss. They're in the wild card race right now. Reds are not. Arizona used 3 relief pitchers. I'm not going to say the Reds are just going to lie down because they can play spoiler and whatever, but still. Reds have the worst of the 2 bullpens. They used 3 guys yesterday as well. Arizona's ranked 9th in bullpen, but I don't think they're that good because their ERA is above 4. They're the better of these 2 bullpens, though. Cincinnati, ERA in the mid-4s. They're ranked 26th in bullpen whip, so Arizona is still better there. Arizona's the better offense. They've been good since the All-Star break. They're 15th, tied with Philly right now. Both those offenses on the rise. Cincinnati, 24th, tied with the Mets and Cardinals. Not a great offense from them. This does not look like a great pitching matchup here. Andrew Abbott is pitching for Cincinnati. This has been his worst season. I mean, it has not been a great season for him. 4.07 ERA, but a 1.4 whip is very ugly. He's better on the road, though. 3.36 road ERA. Cincinnati has a hitter-friendly park, but Arizona also is hitter-friendly. Abbott was good in his last start. It was against St. Louis, but he's been pretty decent in 3 of his 4 starts this month. Although his strikeout-walk ratio kind of counters that. Like, it has not been good. 14-12 strikeout-walk ratio this month. That's not enough strikeouts, and that's too many walks, man. And that's been the case for him all season, really. His hit rate's not bad, but he walks way too many guys this season. Walks have been kind of an issue for him throughout his career, but this year it's been really bad. And his strikeout rate is down, so his strikeout walk ratio is really bad this year. 1.6, it's by far the worst that he's posted, so I don't know what's happened to him because he was pretty good last year for the most part. Yeah, not so much this year. Strikeout per 9 is down again. Things not looking great for him here. His numbers against Arizona are mediocre in 63 at-bats, 254 average, 749 OPS, 16-5 strikeout walk ratio is all right. Okay numbers against Arizona. He does pitch better on the road, so maybe this is an okay matchup for him. Mitch Bratt is pitching for Arizona. He's young, and he's been up and down so far this season. 4.17 ERA, but a 1.47 whip is not very good. He's been good at home, though, 2.04 home ERA. And he was pitching well until I tried to back him against the Red Sox in what I thought was a bad spot with the Red Sox returning home from the road. And, yeah, the Red Sox wound up winning that game easily. Bratt really struggled in that one. But he was in form before that. He had a couple good starts in a row prior to that. He's definitely capable of pitching well, so maybe he does bounce back here. He's, I think, pretty unpredictable right now. He's got a decent hit rate, although his walk rate is definitely too high, and his strikeout rate is just okay. It really isn't that impressive. So his strikeout walk ratio is very bad, mostly because the walks are just way too high. Strikeout per 9, though, isn't really that good either. So it looks like he's not a great strikeout pitcher. Reds haven't seen him before, though, so he does have that edge of unfamiliarity against the Reds. I don't know what to do with this game, man. The money's actually back in the under, even though on the surface, this does kind of look like an over, though. The total's at 9, so it is kind of a high total. But 56% of tickets on the over, 55% of the cash on the under. Money seems to be back in the under. Arizona's public. Everybody knows Arizona needs to win. 75% of tickets and cash on Arizona at minus 130. So market read seems to kind of be indicating on Cincinnati just as a public fade here. And maybe, Abbott is better on the road. He's the more established of the two pitchers. He has okay matchup numbers. But given that he has okay matchup numbers and Bratt is capable and is unfamiliar to Cincinnati, maybe there is kind of an angle for a first 5 under here. It's a really, really difficult game to figure out, man. This is one of the most unpredictable games on the board. This one and whatever the other game was that I talked about that I said was massively unpredictable. I forget what the other one was. But yeah, whatever. I don't like the game. And then the night game is actually an ESPN Sunday night game, and it's because ESPN is covering the Little League World Series now, and that's what this game is. This is the Little League. It's Little League batters playing in this game. No, this is the annual Little League World Series Classic. It's being played in the town in Pennsylvania where the Little League World Series is. So it's weird because this series has been in Milwaukee, so these teams are traveling from Milwaukee to Pennsylvania for this game. This happens every year. I think it's different teams in the game every year, but basically the Little League World Series players get to, meet the baseball players here, meet, the Major League players, and it's a whole event. It happens every year, but that's what is going on here tonight. So this is a neutral site game here, Atlanta-Milwaukee, and it's an interesting game. You got two good teams here. Milwaukee's been good in the series. Milwaukee's trying to get the sweep here. Maybe it'll throw off their momentum having to travel away from home, though. It's been an under series as well so far. Both games being very low scoring. The Braves have only scored 2 runs in the series, with Milwaukee winning both games here. Milwaukee has a strong bullpen. They use 3 guys out of the bullpen, but their better relievers are mostly available here today. Atlanta's been a good bullpen as well, although I think Milwaukee's is better. Atlanta only used 2 guys out of their bullpen yesterday. Atlanta's number 2 in bullpen whip, although I think I would put them at 4th right now, and I would put Milwaukee 3rd, but that would be how the ERAs line up. Milwaukee's 5th in WHIP. But you got 2 good bullpens here. I mean, I think that's pretty much what you need to know as far as this game is concerned. I think they're pretty closely matched. Milwaukee's 7th in offense. The Braves are 14th. So Milwaukee's been the better offense over the course of the season and recently. Atlanta's kind of fallen off offensively recently. This does not look like a very good starting pitching matchup here in this one. However, the total's low, and I don't know if the stadium is known for being particularly pitcher-friendly. Maybe it is because the total's low, and maybe part of the reason why it's low is that. Tyler Mahle is pitching for Atlanta. Hasn't really had a great season. 4.53 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, and he's been generally bad on the road. 6.55 road ERA. Although this is not a true road game here. And he's made 2 good road starts for Atlanta so far. So since Atlanta got him, he's been good in every start. He's gone at least 6 innings. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start here. His strikeout rate's been high. He's been surprisingly good since Atlanta got him. He's been a good addition to their starting rotation, which seems crazy, but that's the case. His hit rate is okay on the season. His walk rate is mediocre, I would say, and his strikeout rate is decent. So there isn't really anything that bad about his overall numbers. His strikeout walk ratio is okay. It's been better with Atlanta, but maybe there's going to be some regression there. His strikeout per 9 is decent as well. So his numbers really across the board aren't really that bad. And his numbers against Milwaukee are good. In 45 at-bats, 178 average allowed, 488 OPS. The only bad number here is the walks, 15-7 strikeout walk ratio. So Mahle is in good form right now, and he does do well against Milwaukee. So I think he might have another good start here. And it's, a spotlight game here, so maybe the pitchers will step it up. Shane Drohan looks like he's getting the start from Milwaukee. He's been pretty decent this season, although he hasn't been as good recently. ESPN still refuses to put his picture up here. 3.86 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, not bad. He's not as good at home, although this is not a true home game. 4.21 home ERA, but better on the road, and this is a game that's not in his home stadium. He was one of the beneficiaries of that 22-0 win. He pitched in that game, although I don't know if he started the game or not. So that's the other thing. Milwaukee, I think, they might use an opener in front of him, so I'd be aware of that if you're going to play this game, I would pick Mahle must start for Atlanta, but not pick a starter for Milwaukee because they might do something weird with their pitching rotation here. Drohan, he's had some issues, though, this month, like 10-9 strikeout walk ratio. That is really not good, so he's in worse form right now than he has been. And he hasn't really gone that many innings yet. He's only up to 100, but it is still the most that he's thrown probably ever. I think this is his rookie season too, right? Yeah, it is. So he's had a good season, but he seems to be kind of falling apart a little bit here. His strikeout rate is still pretty good. His hit rate is decent. Walk rate is okay. Strikeout walk ratio is right there at 3, so it's right around what I look for as like the average, like threshold there. Maybe I'm a little bit too stringent with that. Like maybe 3 is actually slightly good. His strikeout per 9, almost 9, is pretty good. Braves haven't seen him before, so maybe the Braves will struggle to hit him here. Braves offense struggling, unfamiliar with Drohan. The under does make some sense in this game, and the money is indicating towards that. 63% of tickets on the over, 55% of the cash on the over. So the money is indicating towards the under 7.5. I agree with that. And I agree with the money on Atlanta, too, actually. 74% of tickets on Milwaukee, 69% of the cash on Atlanta. Atlanta's trying to avoid the sweep. The public is all over the hot team, which is Milwaukee. Drohan has been in bad form recently. Mahle is in much better recent form. It's not a true road game for Mahle here, and he has good numbers that we've already established against Milwaukee. So, yeah, I agree with the market in both of those. I lean under, and maybe Atlanta's the better way to play it. Trying to avoid the sweep. So, and Milwaukee having to leave home might just throw them kind of off their momentum a little bit, maybe. So, yeah, I think Atlanta as a side might be the best way to play that. Maybe first 5 as well. I don't know. You could go full game, maybe. I mean, their bullpen shouldn't kill you, but both bullpens are good. All right. And that is it for baseball, finally. Baseball takes forever to get through. You're doing push-ups while drinking White Claw. All right. Drunk, low-carb push-ups. All right. I like it. Yes, it's the last day of the weekend. We have WNBA here. I'm giving out a WNBA play. Seattle at Dallas is the first game, which is the afternoon game here. Dallas looks like they could be in a letdown spot. They just beat Indiana in their last game. That was a big win for them. Staying at home, I don't really see them paying that much attention to Seattle. Seattle sucks. Dallas has some injuries, including Fudd, their number one draft pick this year. She's been shut down for the season, so that's maybe not great for Dallas. I mean, she wasn't showing up on the overall stat sheet much here, but she was kind of like a utility player, like doing a lot of different things out there. So who knows? Seattle, very bad team, though. One of the worst in the league, so obviously Seattle's going to be a huge underdog here. Seattle coming in losing most of their recent games. I mean, it's been bad for them. They've lost 13 of their last 14 games, I think is what this is. Really, really ugly. They haven't played for a week, though, so I think they have a little bit of a rest advantage here. Maybe they show up for this game, getting to go out on the road for a game, play Dallas. I would lead Seattle here, but it's not a strong opinion from me. The money seems to be all over Dallas, though, at -8, -8.5 here. 56% of tickets, 93% of the cash on Dallas. I think that line kind of looks low, but it makes it look too easy to play Dallas, right? Like, who's going to play anything other than Dallas? So I'm kind of surprised the money is coming in on Dallas. I don't think I would agree with that. I think I would lean Seattle plus the 8.5, but I don't want to do it. To me, it's a letdown spot for Dallas. They don't have a big game up next, but I think it's a letdown spot. And maybe Dallas is slightly overrated here. And Dallas doesn't play great defense still, and laying a price like that may not be the greatest idea. Total's not that high in that game either. It's in the mid-range. Next game up is my play, and it's the TV game on NBC and Peacock. Let's get back on track with the stupid WNBA, man. This is really all about the scheduling spot, and I know it's factored into the line a little bit, but we're going to take Chicago plus 3.5. I feel like I'm playing Chicago a lot, but they've done okay for me for the most part. I know Chicago doesn't look like they're in the greatest spot because they're coming off two big wins against New York and Golden State, but they last played on Friday, and that's going to be part of the key here. They're staying at home. They're not going to overlook Indiana. The last time they played Indiana here was on August 8th, so a couple weeks ago, and they lost here at home. They played pretty well. They only lost by 4, but they did lose. They're not going to overlook Indiana, in my opinion, and what kind of sealed the deal for me, because I was worried that Chicago could be in a letdown after pulling off an upset against Golden State. This is a primetime game on national TV at home, and teams get up for those types of games, so I think they will get up for it, especially because it's against a named team like Indiana. And that game against Golden State, I know it was big, it was like a quick revenge game, but Chicago was winning that game by like 20 points early in the game, and they almost blew it, so they actually kind of played better in the game than the final score sort of makes it look. But the key here is that Indiana, even though Chicago, I think, is playing their 4th game in 8 days, look at Indiana's schedule. They played yesterday, and they had a really tough game against New York yesterday, a New York team that I liked New York in the game yesterday. New York finally was able to beat Indiana. It was a double revenge game for New York, but that game was close right at the end. It was like a tied game or a 1-point game with like a minute to go, and then there were some fouls at the end that I think made the game look a little bit less close than it was. It was a close, tight game yesterday, man. And now Indiana is coming off of that game on a back-to-back, traveling from New York to Chicago. They're also playing a 3rd game in 4 days, all in different cities. They're playing a 4th game in, they're playing a 4th game in 6 days, all in different cities, and they're playing a 5th game in 8 days, all in different cities, which includes an overtime game against Dallas, and they're also playing a 6th game in 10 days, all in different cities. This is brutal. Like, you don't see scheduling spots like this very often in the WNBA. This is an Indiana team that I think is just going to be out of gas at this point. And the last 2 games are pretty big against Dallas and New York. This is not a good spot for them. You can say what you want as far as Chicago's rest situation. Like, they played on Friday. Chicago is only playing 1 fewer game than Indiana is over this stretch, but Chicago's staying at home for it. So Indiana's having to do this all in different cities. really, really, really brutal scheduling spot for them. And the last time they were here, they won against Chicago. And I think we had Chicago, by the way, in that game. And I think they did cover because I think the number was bigger than this. Of course, the number's going to be lower here because the odds makers know how bad of a spot this is for Indiana. But if you're giving me Chicago as an underdog here still in a spot like this, yeah, I say let's do it. You know, even though I think normally they'd probably be about a 5.5 point underdog here. And whatever it was, I'm pretty sure they covered it in that last game where I'm pretty sure I gave out Chicago in that last game. That was a horrible spot for Indiana there, coming off Minnesota, an overtime game against Vegas, and then with New York after that. That was a mega sandwich spot. So the only reason I wouldn't have given that out as a play would have been if Chicago was in some sort of bad spot there, which I don't believe they were. No, so I'm pretty sure I gave that out as a play, and I'm pretty sure it was a win. Let's get another win here with Chicago, man. I say we do it. And Indiana doesn't have a big game up next. I think they play Connecticut when they return home. But even so, this looks like a terrible spot for Indiana to me. So let's do it. And the money agrees with me on this. 85% of the tickets and only 52% of the cash on Indiana. We could have had a better number on this. I would say get at it, though. There are a few of the books still have a 3.5. It looks like it's 3 now. It opened at 4.5, so we're losing value on this quickly. I guess the only concern is it's a high total. 186.5, and Chicago does not really play that slow, which I think I mentioned the last time these two teams played. Indiana plays really fast, but I think that hurts Indiana more in a rest spot like this because when you play fast, you're going to be even more out of gas, you know what I mean? So maybe Chicago, because they do tend to also play fast, the rest advantage might actually hurt Indiana more in a case like this. The rest disadvantage for Indiana, I mean, might hurt them more because of the style here, so maybe Chicago will try to slow them down too. I don't know, but I say we take the points for Chicago. We got to get back on track here, man. Better fucking happen. WNBA went well for us last year. We've had a lot of nice underdog plays in the WNBA this year, but some real bullshit losses this year in the WNBA as well. Washington at Portland. I mean, Washington's obviously the better team here. Portland's returning home from a road trip. And by the way, one thing I forgot, the game that they just played against Toronto was not in Toronto. It was actually in Vancouver. It was a neutral site game, and I still leaned to Toronto in that game, and I got it correct just because, I don't know, it just felt like it felt way too easy to play Portland in that one. So it was a weird game, but yeah, it was in Vancouver. But either way, Portland's returning home from a road trip here. They've been on the road for more than a week. And, you know, I talk about that. When a team returns home from the road, I don't love that spot because they could be distracted. They got to get back to home life. And, in fact, they actually beat Washington in Washington and embarrassed them by 19 points back on July 16th. So Washington might actually not overlook them here for that reason. So I don't like the spot that Portland is in here. But I don't really want to lay points with Washington on the road either because they're more of a defensive team. This is a low total game, I'm pretty sure here. Yeah, it's in the 160s, so Washington plays low-scoring games for the most part. Washington's also coming off a pretty big game themselves against Minnesota, although they lost by 10. I don't think it was that close, so they did lose that game. They're starting a road trip, which usually is a focus spot. I think the spot's better for Washington here, man, even though I don't love laying points like this on the road. The money seems to kind of be indicating on Washington. They're laying 5.5, though. Usually, again, I don't like to lay points with a defensive team like Washington when everybody knows they're the better team. 89% of tickets, 93% of the cash on them. But I think I would lean their way because, again, they got embarrassed at home by Portland the last time they played them, so they're not going to overlook Portland here. Portland returning home from the road, not great. The other negative for Washington, though, is they are traveling to the Pacific Coast here. However, it's a 7 p.m. Eastern game, though, so it's not one of those late-night West Coast games, so I don't think you really have to worry about that for Washington. So I'm going to lean Washington slightly in that one. And then we have Vegas at Toronto, where Toronto looks like they're staying at home, but they're not because, remember, they were in Vancouver for that game, against Portland. So they're actually returning home from a road trip, which was really, really weird. They went to Washington, then had to go all the way out to Vancouver and play a third game in 4 days, and they still got the win. I mean, something looked really fishy about that Portland line, so I still lean to Toronto in that one. And I forgot that Toronto was having to go to Vancouver, but they still won it. That's kind of important because Toronto ended a really long losing streak. They lost 12 games in a row. And when a team ends a losing streak like that, a lot of times they're going to play better in the next game. It'll like end that losing momentum. So a lot of times that helps them. I'm not sure I love this though, because they're returning home from the road, even though it was less than a week-long road trip. I don't love the road trip return spot here. Vegas probably isn't going to take Toronto seriously, though, because the last time they played Toronto, they easily beat them by 26 points here in Toronto. Toronto, though, their rest situation is not great. After they had a lot of rest before those last few games, they're now playing a fourth game in 6 days or whatever this is, with travel in between every game, so that's not very good either. So I don't love the scheduling spot for Toronto here, really. Vegas just had an easy win over Connecticut, but they are having to travel to Toronto here to start a road trip. But they're playing Toronto again next back at home, which is very weird. Very, very weird spot, actually. It's just a single game road trip, Vegas, where they have to go to Toronto for no real reason. So I don't like the spot for Vegas, even though they're more rested. They're coming off a real easy win over Connecticut. So the spot's not exactly bad for Vegas, and the money is coming in on Vegas, but I wouldn't lay 14 and a half on the road. I mean, that's just not something that I do, even though it's a high total, 181 and a half. 57% of tickets, 79% of the cash on Vegas. I think the price is probably up higher than it usually would be as well, because everybody, like the odds makers, know Toronto's in a bad rest situation here. I think the price is definitely too high, although the money is backing Vegas here. I don't know, man. I think I might slightly lean towards taking the points there. I really don't love it, though. But it just seems like a spot where, like, why would Vegas really pay attention to Toronto? Like, why would they? Like, do you really want to? Oh, yeah, we have to go travel to Toronto for this one game to play against this team we already annihilated recently. Like, why would Vegas show up for that? You know what I mean? Although, again, they don't have any big games upcoming either, so I don't know. But asking Vegas in a spot where they might have questionable motivation to cover like that is kind of ridiculous. Like, do I think Vegas is going to win? Yeah, but covering that number when they might not have any motivation to do so, yeah, I don't like it, but whatever. All right, and then we do have one NFL game. It wouldn't be a Sunday without it, man, even though last season we didn't have any, but there is one NFL preseason game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Seattle and Tennessee on Fox in Tennessee. Interesting. I believe Seattle went to Tennessee during the season last year, and Tennessee put up a pretty good fight against them and covered, if I remember correctly. And I remember being mad because I didn't put it on my card on the show, but I think it was in my Pick 5 entry that won me money last year, by the way, on Splash Sports. It was like their version of the Super Contest where you have to pick 5 games against the spread every week. I did well. I wound up in the money in that one. I think I won like $1,000 or something. Although I think it was about I don't know, the entry I think was probably 100 or something. So I won like 900 or something on it, which not bad. Although, you know, that return for doing that for a full season and putting in all that effort, whatever. But that one I remember was a bad spot for Seattle, but I think that's irrelevant here. I should have added it to my card, but at least I got a Pick 5 entry right on it. Tennessee looked pretty good in their first game. They won at the 49ers in their first preseason game, but the 49ers benched everybody in that game, so I wouldn't take that much away from that win. Although I think Tennessee should be somewhat improved this year. I mean, they do have a new coach, though, so we'll see how that goes. But new coaches usually try to win preseason games. Seattle does not have a new coach here, but they might still try because they fall into that category where they're coming off an ugly first preseason game where they only scored 7 points at home and they lost to the Cowboys. So I think Seattle might actually try harder in this game for that reason. To me, it looks like both teams will show up with effort in this one. And that's kind of what you have to try to gauge motivation in preseason, but you also got to look at the quarterback rotation. I don't know if Darnold is going to get into this game or not. I don't know what Seattle's running back situation is going to look like when the season starts as well, because Charbonnet is hurt right now. So it looks like they're basically going with their first-round draft pick this year, Jadarian Price. He might be good. I don't know. He's a speed running back. So you figure that once the season starts, if they have everybody healthy, they're going to use him as like a change of pace, like a speed back on like passing downs and stuff. But I have no idea, dude. But anyway, for Seattle, I don't know how much Sam Darnold will get in this game. He might get in the game a little bit. Then behind him, they have Drew Lock, who is a very experienced quarterback that has been in the system for a while. But I don't know if they're really going to go crazy on offense with him out there. Jalen Milroe is like a dual threat who adds a different dimension here. And he looked somewhat okay in that first game. So I don't know. Maybe the Seahawks quarterback rotation is okay here. Tennessee, you might see Cam Ward getting some action out there. He hasn't really had to deal with injuries so far in his career. Trubisky would be the next guy in line and possibly would be starting this game or coming in pretty quickly. But Trubisky is questionable, so you might see Will Levis as well. And then I don't know if Hendon Hooker is getting involved. He might get involved a little bit here, but Tennessee's got a very experienced quarterback depth chart here, but it's also a depth chart where they might not pull out all the stops here. You know what I mean? Because you pretty much know what you're going to get with Trubisky and Levis here. So whatever. I don't know. Maybe an under in this game might make more sense than anything else. I mean, I don't want to deal with it. The money's heavily backing the over, so what do I know? Total 37.5, 62% of tickets on the under, 94% of the cash on the over. But if you have a situation where it looks like you don't really need to like see what you have in these backup quarterbacks, you know what I mean? It seems like it might be more of a like vanilla offense type of game, but maybe not. Maybe because I do see both coaches being motivated, which might mean both teams will be trying to score. So I guess maybe that does counter that a little bit. Tennessee is also a 4.5-point favorite, but the money's coming in on Seattle. The public is predictably on Seattle because, of course, the Super Bowl winners are getting 4.5 points against the Titans. I mean, it looks way too easy to take Seattle, but the money's also playing Seattle. 80% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Seattle. And you know what? Maybe Seattle is the right way to look in this game because Tennessee maybe did look too good in that first game against the 49ers, with the 49ers not playing anybody. And Seattle looked real ugly against the Cowboys and probably going to come out with a little bit of better effort here. So, yeah, I don't think I would disagree with grabbing the points with Seattle there. Maybe that is the better way to look, but it's preseason. I don't really do shit with preseason. Zach, you're rooting for the Titans. Is that your team? That is pretty random. Why? Royals, Titans, Devils? Like, how does that happen? I have no idea. I mean, I guess I don't hate it. It just seems very random. I'm not a fan of Notre Dame. You know me, I don't like Notre Dame. I mean, I've got one of their rivals on my hat here, BC. We're the Catholic rivals here. Speaking of which, I still have to watch Catholics versus Convicts 30 for 30 on Netflix before it's gone because I still haven't watched it, which is the Notre Dame-Miami rivalry documentary. Price, yeah, will you like him? Because he went to Notre Dame. I think he's better. I'm not sold on Love. I think Price might be better than Love. I don't really think Love is that good. The Holy War. What do they actually... I don't know what they call that rivalry. It must have some other name, right? The Holy War is too generic of a name. The Holy War is the BYU Utah rivalry, so I don't know, man. That's going to do it, though. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here, and you'll get notifications when I go live. College football preview is coming up. I am going to do it. I got to do it before it officially starts. College football is happening next weekend, man. First games, I think, are Saturday, maybe even Friday. And I usually, at least, kind of focus in on one play. And last year it lost. The year before that, it was a great play that won, so we'll see. But usually I do wind up with, one play in that week 0, but we'll see what happens this time. But, yes, be on the lookout for that. Subscribe so you get notified. I will be doing probably one more NFL preview show, or maybe 2, because I talked to Clint. He said he would do a bald show, although we're not going to do it live, but he was just here the other night. He is on the Tom Cruise right now. Not being gay and, having a homosexual volleyball montage, although the hilarious thing about that is Clint was a beach volleyball player in San Diego, so he was doing the Top Gun shirtless volleyball stuff. So, Clint and Tom Cruise, man. Yeah, now that image can be in your head. But I believe Clint is going to actually be back here again after the cruise for a little while. Don't know. I don't think I have the setup to do this live. Let me see, though. Actually, I think maybe I actually do. I think I have 2 mic inputs just because on my Scarlett here, I think they're just different. I don't know because I don't think I have 2 different... No, maybe I don't because I don't think I have 2 different volume controls for it. I think you have to use one or the other input. So I don't think I actually can handle 2, but I don't know. I was thinking about doing a live bald, which would be crazy. I don't really have a great seating setup for it here, though, as you can see. But whatever. I could bring another chair in here. Anyway, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But Clint said that he would do some bald at some point. Maybe when he gets back home, though, maybe it'll happen or whatever. NFL season, I think, starts the week after, or 2 weeks after college football starts, right? Yeah, because college football week 0, then there's college football week 1, and then NFL week 1 is usually the week after that. So we have a little bit of time for that. Anyway, what else do I have to promote here? We're on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Check that out. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. I put up a couple of Weezer covers from the new album, which I like. Props to them. I've been talking about that on my show. I got to start doing maybe opinion content, like review content, because people seem to like that. People like listening to people's opinions, man. And these are my opinions on these games, but I mean, it's a little bit different, I guess. What else do I have to promote here? Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can support me that way, though. I apologize. I'm not very active on there, man. I got to get better about that. I still have covers I need to do for people. It's bad, but it's the way that it is. My voice just hasn't been, I know I've been putting out other covers, but my voice really needs to be in decent shape for some of the requests, and I don't want to make them really bad. Like when it's a cover that I'm just doing on my own, I'm just I don't really care as much about what it sounds like, so I don't know. Whatever. Loser Cast every Tuesday, and then the New York Giants G-Spot podcast. We got to figure that out too, as we've talked about doing live watch parties, watch streams during the games. We'll see. I've considered doing that here on this show and maybe offer it as Patreon content, where if you guys want me to do live stream while I'm paying attention to different games that I have bets on and whatever, I could maybe consider doing something like that. I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun. I don't know. You can watch me overreact to everything, but I can't stomach watching these games. I don't know. It feels like it's just so much content, and it would take up a lot of my time. But if it's going to make me money, finally, maybe I should do that. Anyway, whatever. But oh yeah, my plays today one more time. Under 8 in Cardinals-Phillies. Under 7.5 in Cubs-Mariners. So we're being the Undertakers again today. And then we will take the Chicago Sky in the WNBA plus the points. Just a horrible scheduling spot for Indiana. So let's get it done. That's going to do it. I don't know. I usually do that before the plugs, but I already did the plugs. That's going to do it. Have a good Sunday, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be an easier slate to break down tomorrow because it's a shorter baseball card and probably few WNBA games and no football. So that's going to do it for now. The football content will be starting, though. So if you remember the way that I do it, I usually do it the night before because at that point the lines have kind of coalesced, and maybe you've missed some of the line moves there, but I think it's the best time where you have the most information and the lines have kind of moved in a way where you can kind of tell what's going on and where the actual professional money is and whatever. But I do a lot of it's all situational stuff, so sometimes you miss some of the better numbers, but I still find that I think the better, approach for me at least is to do the shows the night before for those football ones. So late night parties coming back, man. It takes a lot out of me. It doesn't allow me to sleep, but that's how I do it. Friday nights will be college football shows, and Saturday nights will be the NFL shows. And then I talk about the games that are not on Saturdays and Sundays. I talk about those the morning of. So that's where I was Mr. Thursday night with the NFL Thursday night plays. Got almost every one of the Thursday night spread predictions correct, and only gave out a few of them as actual plays, but still, I won't be able to do that again, just so you know. But that's going to do it. Peace.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer, let somebody know. You do not have to lose this round alone. Hold on, not tonight, not now. Hold on, let me pull you out. That bad luck bites hard. still here